I would urge you to try number 60 on your own after seeing number 58. They're virtually identical. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and I'd like you to do the same. And I'm going to type in my function, and I'm also going to specify the interval from -3 to 2. I'm going to change my window so I can see just what I need to see. If you graphed the function in number 60 correctly, it should look like that. And sometimes it gets a little bit fuzzy as to what is actually going on during this little time. We could see the function is increasing, and then it goes down a little bit, but then the question is, does it really go back up, or is that just a kind of where the calculator isn't giving us a clear enough picture? So what we want to do is we want to squeeze in the y values, and instead of looking at this function from -10 to 10, we're going to squeeze it in and look at it from -5 to 5. In fact, we don't even need to go up to 5. We can go to 0 because it doesn't even hit the x-axis. So we can now have a better picture of what the function is actually doing. And let's go ahead and sketch the graph here on our paper. So I'm going to pause the video and do that. So it's close enough. We see a high point, a low point, and then a high point. So we're just going to have to come up with the coordinates of each of those points. And let's go ahead and do that. Second, calculate. First we have a maximum, so we're going to hit number 4. And we'll move the cursor to the left of that high point, enter, mark it with an enter. Move it to the right of the high point, mark it with an enter, and then enter somewhere in between, and we get -1.57. So the coordinates of that point are, and this is helpful when you plot the points, and then we can go ahead and label the graph. -1.57, comma, -0.52, -0.52, and then let's find the low point. So again, second, calculate, minimum, and we're going to mark a low point at -1, enter, and then let's say 1, enter, and let's say it's somewhere around 0. Somewhere around 0 we have a low point. So we have a low point of 0, -2. So that low point is actually on the y-axis, 0, -2. That's helpful. And then we have this point right there in which we want to calculate the maximum. So we type a 4. We're going to mark this with a 0, comma, and then if we move over to the right there, we can go like to number 2 or whatever, to 2. And then we go back here and we see we have a high point right there at 0.64, 0.64, comma, -1.87, -1.87. So we see we have these intervals in which the function is either increasing or decreasing. And so now that we have everything labeled, we can easily answer the question. So we have increasing on that interval, and then we have also increasing on that interval. Y value is getting bigger there, and then the y value is getting smaller there and smaller there. And remember that our interval then that we were originally given goes from -3, so -3 to +2, and +2 will be over here somewhere, so +2. And then we can answer the question. So for part A, we're asking for a local, actually let me go ahead and for part A, I'm going to just go ahead and circle the local min, and just because I don't want to have to write it again. So there's a local min right there, and then over here we have a local max. That's the absolute max, but it also qualifies as a local max. And then this guy right here, that's also a local max. And then clearly we can see, so we don't even have to rewrite all that stuff. So for part B, or decreasing, so we want to list the intervals in which this function is decreasing. And we can see the decreasing is in red, and we always want to pick the x values. So the decreasing interval would be from -1.57 to the x value of 0, as well as from 0.64 to the x value of 2. One other thing I want to point out is that these intervals are open intervals. If they were closed intervals, then we'd have to consider as well the endpoints of the intervals, which would It would be a little bit more work, but not much. But also, again, these are open intervals, and so we don't need to consider the endpoints. The endpoints, there is no minimum value here, so we don't have a local minimum down here. Now, increasing, we look at the green intervals from -3 all the way to -1.57, as well as the other green interval from 0 to 0.64. And that's it for 58 and 60. Now we'll do 62 in the next video.